Many reasons can be thought of to support the concept that it would be much better for society, as well as for many individuals, if teenagers did not engage in premarital sexual intercourse. This is especially with others significantly older than themselves. Not being able to achieve such an extreme, at the very least, those violating existing laws should be prosecuted fairly. First, here in the U.S., in a state where the age of consent is 18, let's start with F1, a female at the age of 17 years, 11 months. She is a rather naive, innocent virgin, and most people would guess her age at 14 or 15. 1 month later, she turns 18. Being very impressive and trusting, she is deceived by a 50-year-old man who begins a sexual relationship with her, then leaves her. She is devastated, but has no recourse and does not receive much sympathy. It is considered sex between consenting adults, and she should have known better. Many do not consider that she did something wrong, and she does not have the legal protection she had a month ago. Now take a 13-year-old, F2. She is strong-willed, mature, manipulative, very knowledgeable, and appears to be 17 or 18 years old. So far, she has had sex with over 30 guys, worked as a prostitute, and has had an abortion. 1 month before her 14th birthday, she seduces a 21-year-old man. He is a full-time student at a university and is passing with honors. To his family and friends, he is a very smart, kind, and generous person. Then he is prosecuted for having sex with a minor under the age of 14. His future aspirations are destroyed as he is out of college and serving time in a penitentiary. He also has to register as a sex offender. Many consider him to be a deviant, a sex predator, child molester, pedophile, or someone sick. Yet here in the United States, 13-year-old females can legally be married, in rare cases depending on the jurisdiction and circumstances. 12-year-old females can be legally tried in a court of law as adults. Some say she's just a child and not responsible for engaging in sexual activity, but consider her to be an adult when they are appalled by a crime she committed. For most of the history of humanity, relationships with mature young adults has been considered to be normal. Not just in the distant past when there was a much shorter life expectancy. Physiology and natural human nature can also be explained in some of the relationships. Meaning of words and descriptions are inaccurate and commonly misconstrued. Number 1, many people refer to teenagers as children or even babies. Others use the terms describing human development beginning with baby, then toddler, then child, pubescent, adolescent, then adult. If they consider teenagers to be children, does that mean this country prosecutes some children as adults or allows some children to get married? In a news conference, an attorney for the family of a 22-year-old that killed 6 people in May 2014 near UCSB referred to him as a child. Routinely in news reports, an 18-year-old man, 18-year-old woman, but often females are listed as girls, well into their 20s, as well as some males listed as boys into their 20s. People are depicted as being children or adults based on the image others want to portray and/or their objectives. People are persuaded to change their perceptions of individuals when children are depicted as being adults, and adults are depicted as being children. Number 2, the traditional meanings of the terms pedophile and child molester are not used to describe an adult that has sex with an adolescent. Words such as hebephile, epiphile, and teleophile are more accurate in some cases. There's too much inconsistency, too much contradictions, too many different perceptions, and too many inaccurate interpretations. In most of the U.S., the general age of consent is under 18 years of age, as well as most of the world. When dealing with the same people in the same type of situation, a relationship can be perfectly legal or considered criminal, resulting in some serving a long period of incarceration. How can such inconsistencies be moral or logical? Either some laws are appropriate while others are inappropriate, or all are inappropriate. It is not possible for all their conflicting laws to be appropriate, fair, logical, and moral. Many people have been treated unethically. 12-year-old females can get contraceptives, pregnancy services, without parental consent. A female can be considered an adult in a court of law at age 12. A child in a court of law days before her 18th birthday and at age 21 still considered a child by many people. A 17-year-old male, who can be considered a child, can have a consensual sexual relationship with a female considered to be an adult, then be convicted, as an adult, of statutory rape of a child, then considered a rapist, sex offender, and pedophile, and sentenced to prison longer than someone that has been convicted of murder. Often cruel and unethical punishment clearly violates some people's human rights. Or consider a 17-year-old male that is copulated with over 100 girls and women. He could aggressively seduce a naive 19-year-old virgin. She could then be charged with raping a child, statutory rape. Her life could be ruined. It's very common and normal for people to refer to females in their 20s as girls, but certain terms are often used simply to enhance one's agenda. A 13-year-old female can be considered as a little girl, a child, an adolescent, a woman, or as an adult. At the same time, females in their 20s and sometimes their 30s are referred to as girls for the same reasons. Again, there are many compelling reasons to illustrate that routine sexual activity between those considered to be adults and those considered to be minors can create numerous negative impacts, being for the minors, future generations, and society in general. But certain inconsistencies with some of the laws should be taken into consideration so that the punishment will fit the crime. Teenagers have been charged with violations of child pornography laws, been incarcerated, registered as sex offenders, and having their lives ruined for exchanging photos of each other. What is considered to be natural, normal? How do some religions, secular laws, and customs differ? What is really deviant or considered to be unnatural behavior? Is it inherently evil or just natural? Some people consider a middle-aged man aroused by a 16-year-old girl to be sick. Others considered him sick not to be aroused. What about an 86-year-old man wanting to get married to a 26-year-old female? A 60-year age difference? Some would consider that to be absurd. Others consider it perfectly natural for a normal man to desire such a younger woman, especially if the man is Hugh Hefner. Many consider sexual activity between two consenting male adolescents or adults to be perfectly normal, but a man seeking a 16-year-old female to be sick, with deviant desires. Some consider desires such as foot fetishism to be okay and normal, but men seeking such younger females to be deviant. What do people actually desire? What is the percentage breakdown of the general society in relation to sexual desires, beliefs, and practices? Would most people be shocked or very surprised to discover the reality? Who has accurate knowledge and insight into what people are really thinking? Masses of people just believe based on what is told or how they feel personally. Here in the U.S., sexual activity between teenagers under the age of 18 and young adults is very widespread and common. Young adults are subject to serious legal ramifications, even more serious as adults get older. Sometimes punishments are out of proportion. But it should not be a case of one extreme or another. Rampant sexual activity between adolescents and adults, when they are not married to each other, should not routinely be considered acceptable by society. However, considering how widespread and some degree normal it is, disproportionate punishment is not warranted. Some people have been sentenced longer prison terms for statutory rape than others have for committing murder. It is not as menacing and detrimental to society as some cases of murder. Also, the parameters adversely affected don't usually equate to that of some cases of murder. Accordingly, some of the recipients should not be treated as harshly as they have. Also, with all the inconsistencies, others have not been sufficiently punished in similar situations. Many get away with it. Some are appropriately held accountable, and some are disproportionately punished. Basic human sexual desires and activity are normal and ubiquitous aspects of human existence. The degree of suppression and control can be influenced by family upbringing, religious beliefs, social trends, customs, and other aspects. Constant reminders of sexuality within the mass media involve numerous aspects of their lives. This includes advertising for food, clothing, vehicles, personal hygiene, diet, exercise, service businesses. Inundation of sexual innuendos, sexually appealing and suggestive depictions of teenagers involved in sexual activity. Tantalizations of enticing, erogenous depictions, beckoning them to succumb to the allure.